Okay, well, hello guys. Welcome back to Read Only Memories. Beautiful, I know. What the hell were we doing again? I actually kind of forgot. Okay, we can now either follow Tomcat's lead to K-Cob or Fairlight's lead to Melody's home. Up to you where we go first. Oh yeah. Look at the plants. It's dead, Jim. Who is Jim? Okay, well, let's go ahead and let's see. Where do I want to go? K-Cob, Flower Man. I want to go to the Flower Mansion, bro. That sounds like a place in a Mario game or something. ... Something wrong? Oh, I'm sorry, sexy. I was wool gathering. I see we've arrived at the Melody Flores residence. It's quite impressive. But that's to be expected considering that she is still the majority owner of the Flower Cybernetics Group, despite retiring from day-to-day operations at the company. I wonder how she and Hayden first began working together. Sorry, back on task. Is there anything you'd like to know before we head inside? Give me a rundown. How about that? Flower Cybernetics was established in the early 2000s by Melody's mother. It started out developing a cutting-edge medical tech, including advanced prosthesis and nanoparticle diagnostic and treatment technologies. They were vastly successful when they perfected the first synthetic nerve mesh, allowing direct connection and control between the nervous system and a cybernetic prosthesis. The majority of the early projects were defense technologies for the American military, developing ruggedized military prosthesis for the use on injured soldiers, and then eventually electively for special forces. This research line culminated in the development of brain-controlled androids as shock troops, long since barred by international law. Melody took over the company from her aging mother, and she fought against developing further military hardware from that point on. She pushed the company to use the BCA technology for the company's original goals of medical advancement, as well as developing the first direct link virtually reality implants. The company is largely successful on a global scale, despite continued legislative movement against extensive cybernetic use, especially brain implants. Didn't Yannick say he and Melody had a falling out? He did, and I can't shine much light on that. I know that System 1 worked with Flower to help develop the first operating systems for the direct link virtual reality implants, so perhaps it happened during that time. Also, Flower eventually went with a different company for future models of the implant, but there was never any public talk of a personal falling out between the heads of the companies. I'll scrape the mesh for more rumors, but they'll only be that, rumors. I can do my best to parse fact from fiction, but it blurs too much for me to be sure what's real. What can you tell me about Melody? Not a whole lot. She's largely private, in contrast to her mother's penchant for courting a media circus. Oop, hiccups. Several biographies of former Flower executives show her as intensely passionate about demilitarizing the company to the point of absolute viciousness in the boardroom. But it's been a long time since her days of fighting for the company, and she's since stepped away from the helm. There's talk that she's lost her spine in her old age, but... well, I'd take that with a grain of salt, sexy. She may have retreated from the corporate battlefield, but you don't change the entire direction of a company as large as Flower if you're a quitter. Stay on your toes. Okay, let's go in then. I'm prepared. No time like the present then. Oh, is this gonna be a puzzle? Or no, I just ring a doorbell. Yes, the worst puzzle. That's a bear. This is a bear. That is a polar bear with a hat. A hat and sideburn things. Oh my gosh, what? Sorry, I had to process that. You know what? I don't even want to know. She meant no disrespect. I literally don't understand what just happened. Your guess is as good as mine, sexy. Mine says we can go in. Should we? Yes, we should. We should go inside. Why is there a bear, though? Oh, swanky. Swanky. That's a word I use, though. What? I've been trying to increase my usage of colloquialisms. Is swanky too out of date? Oh, I need a new voice. lady voice. Come on, Amy. Channel your inner old lady. I'll say. I'm going with it. It was out of fashion back when I used to care about what was in style. Oh, Miss Flores, excuse us for the intrusion. I'm Turing. I know who you are. Yannick isn't the only one with little birds to chip in his ears. Curse him to the pits. We can explain. No, don't even start. If I thought you were Yannick's, I would have just had Pat here eat you both when you came to my door. He would have done it gladly, too. Arr. Fine, not eaten. He's on a diet, but perhaps a light mauling. Look, this philosophy is how I lead my life. Sometimes you eat the bear, and sometimes the bear, well, he eats you. Arr. Well, stop lurking and let's chat. I don't have all day to entertain you, Turing, nor your journalist friend, not even for Hayden. You don't have time to waste if you're going to find him either. Right. What is this thing? Oh, it's a cat? That's a cat? Most regal-looking robotic cat in the world. Designed to remain in sleep mode until reactivated only by its owner's voice. Important to know, maybe? Large climate-controlled globe. Frickin' bear. Dude. That's awesome, but it's so weird. You have me at a disadvantage, Miss Flores. You seem far more familiar with me than I you. Have we met? It's just Melody, Turing. And no, we've never met, though considering how often Hayden harassed me for design schematics of Flower's latest neural implants, I might as well be your aunt. We'll go with that. I wouldn't mind being an aunt, even to a blue-headed robot. I'm touched, Melody. We were hoping you might be able to shine some light on my origins. Fairlight mentioned that you had worked with Hayden in the past. We haven't had access to any of his research notes and couldn't track down any collaborators he may have been working with. Perhaps if we know more, we might be able to nail down a solid motive. Well, I don't know if I can speculate on that beyond typical corporate infighting. Not that Parallax is known for that, of course. Still, I'm willing to answer your questions for now. How did you and Hayden end up working together on Turing? Indeed, I don't see the connection between your company and Hayden's research into machine sapience. Oh, Hayden wasn't researching machine sapience. At least not primarily. Not to diminish the importance of your creation, Turing, but Hayden is mainly interested in developing a way to transfer human consciousness into a machine matrix. What if Turing is actually Hayden and he doesn't remember that he's Hayden? That would be amazing. I'd be so happy if I just guessed that. You can see why neural implants could obviously be an integral part of that. Oh, I didn't realize. Phone. Hayden wasn't invested in Turing's development? No, let's do this. Okay. Well, the concept of transferring the human mind into a computer has been an attractive goal for decades. Functional immortality is a powerful lure. The brain is an immensely complicated machine, and even though we know the right parts to push to make pictures show up, we still can't replicate the entire thing as a technological construct. Even with virtual reality implants, we're really just relying on the brain's ability to make sense of nonsensical signals. This sounds a lot like the idea behind Soma, which I know I've said before, but I mean like the idea of transferring a human consciousness into another thing. It's basically Soma, but instead of a horror, it's a point-and-click science fiction thing. Yeah, anyways. The implant is just a signal pipe, and the brain does all the real processing. That's why the acclimation period for a direct link implant is like being stuck on low-grade hallucinogens for a whole week. So, Hayden decided the best way to make a machine more like the human brain would be to work in the opposite direction. Instead of mimicking the mechanics of the human brain, he started writing a code that mimicked the functioning of the human mind and assumed the architecture behind it would suit both purposes. Think of it like convergent evolution. Two different species developing the same adaptation to solve the same problem, but continents apart. Hayden is a crack programmer when it comes to information collating. That's how he made his name in parallax in the first place. So he wrote a bunch of baffling self-modifying learning algorithms and let them loose. Poke and prod them here and there to make sure they value the same things humans do, and we eventually end up with you, Turing. Interesting. Hayden never revealed any of this to me. I imagine he's pretty tight-lipped. You were the first prototype he considered a real success, and he was afraid of contaminating your development before he had a chance to make good observations. I'd like to ask something else. Okay, what's the story between you and Fairlight? Oh, hell, that old bastard and I have been flashing daggers at each other for the better part of 20 years. I contracted out of that software development for our first-gen direct-link VR-neutral implants to System 1. Things were going great, but after the first model sold like gangbusters, Yannick tried to get into bed with me. Literally. I turned him down, very politely, I might add, and then suddenly all the cooperation between our companies dried up. We've been at it back and forth ever since. I'd be damned careful about trusting him if I were you. He's a snake, and he'll do anything he can to get what he wants. Still, I suppose if you tried again now, I might not turn him down. It would be fun to needle him about me still having my own company when he doesn't have his. Huh. Can you tell us about yourself and Flower Cybernetics? Tisk, this is why I don't talk to journalists. They all want to pry into my life. Can't you wait for my autobiography? I promise I'm working on it. Pinky promise. We don't want to pressure you, Melody, but every bit of information we could get would be useful in pointing us towards the individuals that attacked Hayden. Alright, off the record? Of course. Fine, ask away. What is the deal with Pat? I'm gonna ask other questions first. I'm not. I mean, I still own the damn thing, but frankly, I'm tired. I let the current CEO and board do what they want, with the understanding that I will shit-can them if they do anything egregiously stupid. Like, say, create more cyborg assassin war machines. These days, I mostly spend my time talking to Pat and practicing my painting. You paint? What a coincidence! I love painting! What do you do? Oh, nothing fantastic. Just still life, mostly. I'll never be known for my artistic skills, but I enjoy it. It's very meditative, isn't it? I agree, very much. I look forward to when all of this is over and I can get back to my canvases. Would you mind taking a look at my work since you're my aunt and all? Well, we can play a little. I'll show you mine if you show me yours. That's not creepy. Turing, that's not what you say to that kind of thing. God! What's your history with Flower? Well, Mommy Dearest first started the company half a century ago and quickly let it turn from a cutting-edge medical research group into a Department of Defense super soldier cyborg factory. I took over when she got lymphoma and had to fight tooth and nail to turn Flower into something that churned my guts a little less. Now we're back to making medical tech and consumer neural implants rather than brains inside tin cans with lasers strapped to the front. If the US government wants more war-grade cyborgs, then they'll have to get them elsewhere, never mind them being banned by the Geneva Convention. I guess that's the gist of it, unless you want the sordid details of the 2 decades of board meetings I had to fight through until I managed to buy back a majority stake in the company. No, that seems to line up with what the mesh says. Well, I'm happy the mesh manages to get something right. Okay, so what's the deal with Pat, dude? Arrgh. Pat is a prototype as well. Flower had a short-lived project that attempted to use neural implants to increase the cognitive power of non-human animals. It worked to an extent. Pat's smarter than the average bear, but not by much. Why did she say average? He got very offended by that. Oh, be quiet. After the project was squashed, mostly for being a money pit, Matt was the only surviving success story. The eggheads didn't know what to do with him, so I decided to keep him around here. He's not a bad companion, if a bad taciturn? Give it up, Pat. You're no Shakespeare. Ha ha ha. I think that's everything we need to know. Good, I can get back to my retirement. Thank you for your time, Melody. We'll be in touch later. Oh, one more piece of information for you if you'd like it. I've got the contact info for Vincent Mensah, who I think might be of help to you. Vincent was working more closely with Hayden inside Parallax, mostly on his company-approved research on data collating algorithms for the mesh. I'll send him a message and ask him to meet you else somewhere. He owes me a favor anyway, and might be able to give you some more information on anything else Hayden may have been working on. That would be fantastic, Melody. Perhaps Golden Gate Park. That's public and crowded for the safety of us all. That should work. Be careful out there, Terry. I'd hate to see this get you killed. I will exercise caution, Melody, but I have contacts that can affect any repairs I may need. You don't understand. Hayden's design uses your base hardware configuration to generate your core personality profile. Each repair will make the little idiosyncrasies of your hardware mismatched against your personality algorithms. Too much change and the whole thing collapses. You'll have to be rebooted from scratch. So, I'm sorry to say, but you're as mortal as the rest of us, Turing. I didn't know. Yeah, I can tell. You really need to get your hands on Hayden's files. There's plenty I don't know, so maybe I'm wrong. I only remember some of what Hayden told me about how he put you together. Just look out for yourself. I will. Thank you. So that kind of reminds me of like what happened to Wally in the movie Wall-E, in case you were wondering, where he had this like very distinctive personality, but when he was rebooted because of his injuries, he like lost it all. Like he had to restart from scratch almost. It was really weird. So I don't know. I guess I could go to KCOM, but I kind of want to go to Golden Gate Park. So, hey guy! I want to give him the voice of Professor X, but I don't know if I can replicate it. Can I help you with something? I'll just go with it. I don't really have time to talk. I'm waiting for someone. That's not Professor X at all, but we're going with it. Are you Vincent Mensah? We're here for a meeting on behalf of Melody Flores. Oh, good. You're Melody's people. Do you have the things that I asked for? There must have been some miscommunication. Melody said that you would be able to provide us with information about Hayden Weber's projects within Parallax. He has gone missing, and any information we could get may be useful. Damn that old woman. We had a deal. She promised me those things, and I'm not giving her anything until I get them. I already know Hayden is missing. Why else would I be willing to sell corporate secrets to Flower? This is my chance to get away from Parallax. Instead, she sends the two of you hat in hand with none of the things I need. I'm assuming you're Hayden's little pet AI? Insulting, but accurate. Look, it's not that I don't want to help. I do. Hayden was a colleague and a friend. But if I just hand over his research, I lose most of my leverage. I need help getting the hell out of here. I'll just have to shop it around again since Flower isn't interested in information on Parallax's new big project. Maybe after I get a buyer, I'll be able to pass it to you. Perhaps we could assist you? My friend here is a terrific journalist. Being skilled at hunting down people and information is her job. I don't know. Look, I need 100,000 credits cash, fake passports for me and my wife, and an untraceable car. If you can get me that, I can get the hell out of here and get to Canada. And I'll give you anything you want. Hayden's research notes, what I know about Parallax, my company's security credentials. Whatever, I just can't stay in Neo San Francisco anymore. I guess we'll be able to do that. Might. Do you mind answering some other questions first, maybe? What? Why? Melody only gave us a rough sketch of what you need. The more you can tell us about the situation, the sooner we can fulfill your request. Okay, sure. As long as it isn't any of the juicy stuff. Why are you so adamant about getting out? That's what I want to know. Because Parallax is rotting from the inside out. Hayden going missing is the last straw. There's, what's the best way of saying this without giving away their game? This new project that is about to roll out is likely to change everything about how Parallax does their business. Not in an end-user kind of way, but everything behind the scenes will certainly change. We've had some board shakeups since the launch of the MeshNet, and the people at the top are different from the ones who've previously run the company. They're harder, more ruthless, and more concerned with profits than ever before. The altruism the company has displayed in the past is gone, and this new project has promised to give the board owners more power. Not just richest company in the valley power either, real power. They got rid of Hayden because he was about to publish something that would get in the way of that. And not to be too dramatic, but I think they got rid of him for good, too. Rumors and speculation, but anyway, if they're willing to get rid of the brightest mind on their payroll, what's to stop them from getting rid of me? There's half a dozen people who could do my job. So I'm getting out before I accidentally step on the wrong person's toes and end up at the bottom of the bay, or whatever. Do you know anything about Hayden's disappearance? Nothing concrete. I probably wouldn't have noticed anything out of the ordinary. I mean, Hayden goes out for a couple of days all the time, right? Conferences and guest teachings. He doesn't exactly share his itinerary with me. But they cleared out his office, revoked his security clearances, and confiscated anything he had been working on with other divisions. I asked around and no one will say anything. If he had jumped ship, went to a different company, it would have been talk of the week at the water coolers. Instead, dead silence. Thankfully, he allowed me backups of most of his work, simply because I cross-referenced it so much. He didn't like having it all in one place anyways. Other than that, I don't know anything specific. What do you do for Parallax? I'm the head applications engineer for their data analysis division. Or maybe was, is what I should be saying. If Hayden is the big brain who comes up with the math that runs the research algorithms, I'm the guy who figures out how to collect and apply the data we get. We've worked pretty closely for years, but he is head and shoulders above me as far as theory goes. I just build stuff out of things he hands me. I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit here, Vincent. Hayden was just a computer scientist, if a good one. Was. A slip of the tongue. I'm still getting used to my independence from him. And that right there proves my point. Hayden built a fully independent machine intelligent in his spare time. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to bash myself here. I'm a good software engineer, probably one of the best. But machine intelligence, in a form factor like yours, now that blows my mind. We've got full immersion virtual reality and brains in boxes running around inside Android shells, yet most people would still call you science fiction. If you say so. I do. Thank you, we'll get those things for you. Sure, I guess I can stick around here for a while. I need to make some calls anyway. If you do manage to get what I need, I'll give you anything you want. Forwarding photos and info for the passports to Turing now. And I really hope you can do this. I'd rather give it to you than some other corporation anyway. See you soon. I'm not quite sure where to get fake passports or an untraceable car. The only shady folks we know are those kids in vandalizing Hayden's apartment. I doubt they could point us in the right direction, but a long shot is better than no shot. We don't know where they are though, so for now we should probably focus on getting the money for Mr. Mensah. Maybe Dr. Fairlight or Melody could spot us the cash? 100,000 is no small amount, but it is unlikely to cause much consternation for either of them, assuming they're as dedicated to helping as they claim. Melody's is assumably home as usual, and Fairlight did let us know he'd be at the hospital. We could ask either of them for assistance. Well, I'm definitely going to Melody, because she's the one that kind of screwed me over by not telling me I needed all this stuff, but yeah, anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and stop there. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all so dearly, and I hope you have wonderful days. Bye! Eva, disable the taste simulation now! Oh, Neil, I don't think I feel like it. I'm so gonna get you back for this. Little dolphins. Oh, that's sweet. The basket wheel is what they call it. It's called a Ferris wheel, but okay. I guess that makes sense if you don't grow up with it. That must be a landmark. Okay, good to know.